Hello, welcome to my January book haul. This month I got 5 books and I'm very excited to show you and tell you about that. I'm also going to talk about some other things I got this month that aren't book related but related to other things I like, so I'd be happy to share those with you, which I think I might start doing in book haul videos. Like in my December book haul, my most recent one, I showed some of the band merch that I got for Christmas, and that's what some of the other stuff in this video is. There were some things that didn't come until this month, so I'm going to show those things and one other thing as well. I may not always have extra things to show in haul videos, but I figured this would be a good time to show them. So all these books are either from a thrift store. I went to, I think, 3 different ones this month, or at least those are the ones I got books from. I guess there are quite a few in my area. And then there's one from Ollie's Bargain Outlet, which is also a good place to get books for low prices. Much lower than their original anyway, and their stickers tell you how much you saved. So first I'll show 2 books that I got from the first thrift store, which is my main thrift store that I go to. The first was Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I believe this is the 3rd book in the Divergent series. I have the first book but have not yet read it, but I would like to. We got the first book from a library sale for like 50 cents, and this was probably a little bit more than that, but not by much. Now I do not have the second book, but I figured when I read the first book, if I enjoy it enough, I will probably want to own the others, so because I saw this, I decided to get it. Normally in my book haul videos, I've been reading the synopsis on the back, but because this is the 3rd book in a series, I don't want to read it because I don't know what happens before then, so I shall not spoil it for myself. But I know this is a pretty popular series, so I know a lot of people will already be familiar with it. I really liked The Hunger Games, so maybe I'll like Divergent too. I think it's similar, but I'm sure it has its own unique things about it. I don't know when I'll get to that series, but it is good to have the 3rd book in advance, even if I don't start reading the series until years from now, because then I'll have it ready. Just not the second one yet, but I've knocked this out of the way. The second is Dumb Witness by Agatha Christie. I was not familiar with this book before, but because I would like to read more Agatha Christie and because it was at the store, I decided to get it. Now sometimes when it comes to getting a book in person, I like to see first if my library has it, because otherwise I may just borrow it from there. I know it's still okay to buy the book if I want, but sometimes I may feel guilty, depending on the book, if I buy it instead of borrow it. But of course it's okay to buy it. But that's just how I usually do things. But my library system does not have this. It does have a CD of the audiobook, but that's all. So it does have it, but I wasn't planning on listening to it that way. The only Agatha Christie book I've read so far was Halloween Party, and I listened to an audiobook of that a few months ago. So I haven't read any of her books in a physical format. But I look forward to that, and I definitely want to read more of her books. This one wasn't on my TBR, but I decided to pick it up anyway. This one I do feel comfortable reading the synopsis, so I'll read that to you now. The letter requesting the renowned detective services arrived too late, 1 month after the sender's demise. But a client was a client, and Hercule Poirot was determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. Why had Emily Arundel believed her life was in danger? And why had the old lady revised her will only days before her death? Poirot faces one of the most unusual challenges of his career as he tries to determine which of the victim's disgruntled relatives did not have a motive for murder. So I don't think this is one of her most popular, but if you've read this, or especially if you've read a lot of her books, I'd like to know your thoughts on it. If you think it's maybe one of the better ones or not as much, but I'll have my own opinion of it, of course. But yeah, I know a lot of people have read her, so I'm open to hearing your opinions. I think this is also a pretty old copy. I think it may be a first edition. Okay, no, after looking at the copyright page again, I don't think this is a first edition, but I do think it is from the 80s, so it's definitely one of the oldest books in my collection in terms of when it was actually printed. Then I got one book from Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Now this book I never knew about before, but the cover and the title definitely caught my attention, so I wanted to see what it was about. And that is My Ideal Boyfriend is a Croissant by Laura Dockrill. That was definitely an interesting title, so I read the synopsis. It's got a synopsis on the jacket and on the back, so I'll read both. Crumpets, cheeseburgers, Mars bars, BBQ, waffles, sushi, crepes, popcorn, pie, chocolate cornflake cakes. It's a food diary, I have to tell the truth. That's the point. 16-year-old Bluebell, also known as BB or Big Bones, lives her life unapologetically. She loves life. She loves food. When BB has a worse than usual asthma attack, her mom insists she go to the doctor. There she is told that she is overweight, no surprise, and pre-diabetic, big surprise, and must lose weight, move more, and keep a food diary. To get out of this immediate health crisis, she agrees to make an effort. Then a tragedy occurs in the family, and things get seriously complicated. Suddenly, losing weight and moving more are the least of her worries. As for the food diary, though, BB doesn't just document what she's eating, she documents what she's feeling, and she has a lot to say. This honest, laugh-out-loud novel brimming with body positivity, bite-sized nuggets of feminism, and commentary on eating will have readers rooting for BB as she navigates her world while maintaining her plucky zest for life even in the most trying times. And then on the back it says, "What you are reading is a promise between my mom and me. It's my food diary. So before you go around prodding a big judgmental finger, remember you're the one reading this. Yes, before you ask, I am fat. Yes, I just called myself fat, and that's allowed. And I'm not greedy. I just love food. And I'm not unhappy. I just love food. No big deal." So that sounded interesting to me. I don't think I've ever read anything like that before, so I'm not sure I'll like it, but who knows, I might. So I do look forward to reading this, mainly out of curiosity, but I might also enjoy it. It looks like a young adult contemporary story, so that's definitely my favorite kind of book to read. I might like it. Also, as an added bonus, I think this book is just really nice looking. I love the pink and yellow color scheme it's got going on, like taking the dust jacket off. I think the yellow and pink go really well together, so I think it looks really nice. I didn't get it for the cover, but like I said, it's a bonus. And I hadn't actually looked at the naked hardcover for Allegiant yet, but I figured I should look at it and show it. So it does have a little symbol here. It's got this red and silver color scheme. The end pages are very nice as well. It's always nice when a book has nice end pages. Usually there's not much there. Now back to My Ideal Boyfriend is a Croissant. I will also read the author bio. Some of these other authors I don't plan on doing that with because they're pretty popular and well known, but I'd never heard of Laura Dockrell before, so I will read her author bio now. And it just looks so cute too. Like, I love the little croissant and the colors and the design. Like, whoever worked on the design for this book, it looks very nice. So if I end up liking it, then that'll make me like it even more. But anyway, the author bio says, Laura Dockrell knows the joy and pain of dealing with all life offers, on and off the menu. A performance poet and novelist, she is the author of both young adult novels and books for young readers, as well as children's poetry available in the UK. She lives in London. I thought maybe she was British because on the back, the character refers to her mom as her mom, so I thought maybe this was originally an English thing. Of all these books, I think this is the one I'll get to the soonest. That's my guess. It may still take a while, but it's sort of high up on my TBR. I do look forward to reading this and seeing what it's all about. Maybe I'll really like it. I'm open to it. Then at another thrift store, I finally got a copy of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This was the only book in the series I hadn't owned of all the main books, which are the only ones I plan on getting at the moment. I had all the others. I had literally found the 6th and 7th book at an antique mall, but not the 5th, and then I had all the others already, so I finally have this. The 4th one was the last one I read, and that was nearly 6 years ago at this point. But I was just picky about wanting like these specific editions with these covers because I know there have been some new ones, and normally when it comes to book covers, I don't care. Like, I'll take whatever edition. Sometimes if there are options, I may pick one over the other, but with this one, I've just been familiar with the certain covers for so long that I waited to get this one, preferably used. So I finally found it. And then hopefully this year I would like to continue reading Harry Potter. It's been a while, but I've only read the first 4 books. I've seen all the movies, but I've yet to read the whole series, and I'm excited to, especially as you get later on, the books become bigger. Like, I know this is the longest one in the series, and I'm just excited to see what they originally were like, and just to get more information, more time with the characters, see things that weren't in the movie, and then kind of compare how the movie handled certain things and what they chose to focus on. So I really do look forward to reading it and truly seeing the rest of the story, because it's kind of wild to think about, but I still haven't. So I look forward to getting to that, hopefully this year. And then the last book was from another thrift store, the last one. And that was another book where the title caught my attention. And then when I pulled it out because I saw the spine, the cover caught my attention as well. And that one is called There's a Cow in My Swimming Pool. This one is by Martin Godfrey and Frank O'Keefe. So this looks like a, probably not even middle grade, probably like a little bit younger than that, but I read those sometimes. And the synopsis says, there's a cow in my pool. Nicole knows she shouldn't really be having this party. Her mom and her new stepdad already said no before they left for their honeymoon. But everyone's having such a good time, including Nicole. Brent, the new guy in town, is so easy to talk to, and he really likes her. So Nicole ignores her misgivings until things start getting out of hand. I am truly hoping that this involves an actual cow and that it's not like a metaphor for anything, because that sounds wild and entertaining, and maybe it would be fun, maybe it'd be humorous, I don't know. But since this is short, I may get to it soon when I get through the other shorter books I want to read. I'll see if there's any information on the authors in this. This book doesn't have a lot of reviews on Goodreads, maybe like 3. Maybe it was just 3 ratings, not even reviews, I don't know. But the point is, it's probably just an older book that was forgotten, probably not in print anymore. On the copyright page, it does say it is from 1991, so it's an old book, but not necessarily a classic. This will at least probably be a lighter read than usual, maybe a bit chaotic. It sounds like it, it looks like it, but I look forward to getting to this when I do. Okay, there is information on both of the authors. Martin Godfrey began his career as a junior high school teacher. He wrote his first book, a science fiction story, as a result of a deal he made with one of his students. It was published in 1981. He is now the author of more than 20 books and has plans for at least that many more. Exciting and outrageous as his stories may be, Martin says that they are generally inspired by actual events from the classroom or schoolyard. And then for Frank O'Keefe, it says he is the author of Guppy Love or The Day the Fish Tank Exploded. Kids Can Press. Maybe that's like the name of the publisher. I'm not sure. And School Stinks, General. He was born in Dublin, Ireland. As a child, he won a prize for a story about survivors of a plane crash in South America. A place says he'd love to visit someday. He moved to Canada in 1957. When he's not writing, Frank spends his time teaching, raising cattle, and learning Spanish. So I wasn't familiar with either of those authors before. And here it says Scholastic Canada on the title page, so I guess this might be a Canadian book. Not sure if it was even published in America. But anyway, there's that. Maybe somebody will see this and remember it from their childhood, but I don't think it was like super popular. It seems rather obscure, but I thought I didn't want to get it at first, but I was like, no, I will. I should take a chance. The library didn't have it because it's that obscure, so yeah, maybe this will be a fun ride, or maybe it will be horrible and outdated and offensive because it is over 30 years old, so who knows? I will probably make a review on this even though it's a shorter book if I feel like it. So I look forward to seeing what this is all about. So some of these books I didn't even know about before, but I was more open to getting books that aren't on my TBR. Like usually when I go looking for books in person, I think of what's on my TBR and I'll get a book if I see it. Or maybe it's by an author that I know and like Agatha Christie, for example, like I did this month. But I am more open to really just browsing and seeing what they're like, especially in a place where the books aren't very expensive, like Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Like I can see on the sticker here for My Ideal Boyfriend is a Croissant that it was originally $18, but I got it for $5 and it's a nice hardcover, so that's really nice. So yeah, when the books are already on the cheaper side to begin with, then I may be even more open to really just looking around. I remember that day I did look at other books, didn't get any others from there, but I did look some more than usual and looked at the synopsis of some books and was more open to discovering new books, which I think I usually am. Like I'll add other books to my TBR if I hear about them from somewhere else, but I think that's a good thing to do. I think it's good that I was open to that. I just make sure I get them because I'm genuinely interested in them and not just to get them. Now as for the rest of the band merch that I got, like considered Christmas presents, but some of them came a bit later, I have two things to show you. So I got these Icon for Hire leggings. I have so many shirts, especially when it comes to band merch, but I could use more pants. So it's nice to have band merch that's pants. They got this little design of their logo made up of skulls on it. And it's white. I feel like a lot of my clothes are darker colors, so I think it's nice to have that variety there. So it's really cool to have pants and not just shirts that represent a band I like. So I really like those, and they're pretty soft too. And there is this set of Alkaline Trio nail stickers. I haven't opened them yet. I may save them for a special occasion, like if I go to another concert of theirs. So I may not use them for a while, but then again, there are a lot of them. But I think this is nice. I think it's a cool thing to sell on your merch website. I definitely would like to use these someday. And the last thing I want to show you is that this month I got the new Autistic Barbie from Walmart. She has some trouble holding this up. Maybe I'm just putting it on wrong. I don't know. It's been a while since I've really had Barbies, but I do like them. I have kept the box as well. I think it's a nice box. Really nice design. Really nice colors. So it's staying for now. You can see some of the other dolls, I guess, like in this line or something. Like I said, it's been a while since I've had Barbies. I had some as a kid. I do like them. I might get more. I don't know. I definitely do like the idea of getting more, but I probably won't have like a big collection, but we'll just have to see with what they have at the store. But I was excited to do some research on Barbies and find some photos online of the ones I had as a kid. But when I found out about this one, I thought it was really cool. And at first I didn't think about getting one myself, and then I thought, no, I probably could pick one up at Walmart, and I did find one there. So I'm happy to have one. I think it's really cool that they have this. I think she's pretty cute. I like her outfit. Her shoes are nice. They fall off a lot, or at least one of them does, but they're nice. So I'll show what specifically about this Barbie makes her unique and why she's considered the autistic Barbie. So she has a few different things about her. For one, there's the accessory. So she has noise canceling headphones here. She has this little fidget spinner that you can put on her finger, and this AAC device, this little tablet here. Well, I personally don't use any of these things really. I mean, I do have earbuds in often, but not so much headphones, unless it's like headphones I use at the computer. But I'm saying I don't have headphones like for that purpose, although I think I did briefly at one point as a kid. It still is really cool, and like she doesn't look like me, but of course she doesn't. Like autism doesn't necessarily have a look, but it still feels really special to me. And it's important to know that this is just one representation of autism, and also like it's a Barbie doll, so like you can use your imagination, and like all the accessories are removable, like even the clothes if you want to put her in different clothes. Like some people are like, put her in a different outfit. You can do that. You can take it off if you want. Like that's the whole point. So You can use your imagination, but I personally really like her. There's not really anything about her I don't like, other than the fact that she can't bend her knees. She can sit down like this, but maybe Barbie dolls typically don't have bendable knees, but I do think that would have been nice. But I like her. I think she's pretty cool. I thought maybe I would just take her out of her box, take some photos of her, and then put her back in and hang her up on the wall somewhere. But I actually haven't put her back in her box. She's just been hanging out like on the shelf and stuff. Sometimes I'll take her to other parts of the room or wherever. So there are the accessories, but also her eyes are like slightly not looking directly ahead, which can represent how some autistic people are uncomfortable making eye contact. And then her joints are designed in a way so that she can stem, like with her hands, like flapping and stuff. See, one of the shoes just fell off. That's how often that happens. Could be the way I'm holding her, but it just happens naturally anyway. So thank you for watching my January book and other things haul.